So, when I say the word poverty, what's the first image that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably a pretty familiar picture, right? Maybe a child with hungry eyes, a family in a makeshift home, and right at the core of that image is one single, really powerful idea.
Yeah, that's the equation we all kind of have baked into our brains. Poverty just equals an empty wallet. And this idea, it's so simple and so powerful that it's been the driving force behind global policy for decades. It takes this huge, complex human condition and boils it all down to just one thing.
And here's the magic number that goes with it. $2.15 a day. This is the official international poverty line from the World Bank. It's neat, it's tidy, you can count it, and it lets us draw this really clean line in the sand between who's poor and who isn't.
But what if that clean, simple number is more than just a simplification? What if it's actually a dangerous one? One that makes us totally miss the point of the very problem we're trying so hard to solve.
Okay, to really see how this number can let us down, let's just do a little thought experiment. Imagine a story of two different families who, at least according to the official data, are in the exact same boat.
All right, on the left, we've got the Patels. On the right, the Garcias. Now look, on paper, they're identical. Both families are living on about $3 a day per person. That puts them just a little bit above that extreme poverty line. But just look at their lives. They're not just different, they are in different worlds. The Patels, they have free schools nearby, a local health clinic, clean water from a well. The Garcias, their kids have to travel 10 miles to school. Their clinic is a 2-day journey away, and their only water source is contaminated. The income number tells us these families are the same. Our eyes tell us that's not even close to the truth.
And that massive gap between the number and the reality, well, that's exactly why we need a new lens, a whole new way of looking at this. We need something that can actually capture the kind of differences we just saw. And that new lens has a name, multi-dimensional poverty. It's a total shift in thinking. It basically argues that poverty isn't just about what's not in your wallet. It's a tangled web of disadvantages. It's not being able to get an education, not having clean water, not having basic health care. It's about the entire fabric of a person's life. So how do you even measure something like that? Well, with this, the Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index, or MPI. You can see it breaks poverty down into 3 main areas: health, education, and just your basic standard of living. And inside those, it looks at 10 really specific things, like nutrition, if kids are actually going to school, if you have clean water or electricity. So this isn't just about counting heads. It's more like a doctor's diagnosis. It shows you how and why people are poor.
So what happens when we take this new tool out for a spin in the real world? Well, the results, they can be pretty mind-blowing. Let's take a look at 2 countries that, on the surface, look like they have the exact same problem.
Okay, so if we only look at poverty through the lens of income, Gabon and Timor-Leste look like twins. Both have about 22% of their people living on less than $3.65 a day. So based on this chart, you'd probably think, okay, their development plans should be more or less the same, right? But now look what happens when we switch to the multi-dimensional view. It is a completely different universe. In Gabon, only 9% of the population is considered multidimensionally poor. But in Timor-Leste, that number skyrockets to 42%. The old metric told us these countries were basically the same. The MPI reveals this gigantic chasm between them. It tells us there's a crisis happening in Timor-Leste, maybe in education or sanitation or health, that money alone just can't see or fix.
And you've got to remember, behind every single one of those statistics, behind every bar on every chart, there are real human lives, often caught in a really complex trap.
No clean cooking fuel isn't just a data point on a spreadsheet. It's the story of a mom named Anjali who has to watch her child cough every single day from the smoke that fills their tiny home. No school attendance isn't just a box to check. It's the story of a kid like Carlos, a super bright 12-year-old whose future just gets smaller and smaller because he can't get to school. See, this is the real tragedy. Poverty isn't one thing. It's a web where everything is connected.
And that web creates a vicious cycle. It looks something like this. Bad sanitation leads to people getting sick. Being sick all the time means a child misses school. Missing school means you have fewer chances to get a good job. And that leads you right back to living in poor conditions. Each problem just feeds the next, creating this trap that is incredibly, incredibly difficult to escape on your own. So if poverty is this tangled web and not just a single line, what does that mean for how we fight it? Well, it means we pretty much have to change our entire approach. First off, it demands a little humility. We have to admit there is no single magic bullet solution. It just doesn't exist. Second, it demands solutions that are connected, just like the problems are. You can't just snip one thread in the web and expect it to unravel. You have to work on a few at once. And finally, it demands that we completely redefine what success even looks like. A victory isn't just about bumping a family's income from $2 to $3 a day. A real victory, a true victory, is when a child is healthy enough to go to school every day. A real victory is when a mother can turn on a tap in her home and get clean, safe water for her family. Now that is a success that actually changes a life for good. Seeing this full, complex picture is absolutely the first step. It transforms the problem from a simple number into a human story with human faces. And that leaves all of us with a really important question. Now that we can see the many faces of poverty, how are we going to choose to fight?